Hello everybody, welcome to Cansanity's very first video. I thought it was appropriate to get started today given the fact that most of us are in self-isolation somewhere. I thought today what I would show you is how to start your seedlings so that you can get your plants as soon as possible into your vegetable garden. Every season, at the end of season, I wash out any old containers with some soap and water and bleach, and then just save them in my garage so that I have them available for planting early in the spring. If you don't have containers like this at home, repurpose, reuse. Take some sour cream containers or yogurt containers, wash them out, clean them out really well, and poke some holes in them, and there you go. You're ready to go for your plantings. I also buy Miracle Grow or Pro Mix, whatever's on sale at the end of season, previous season, and I store it in my garage so that I have it available to use right at the beginning of the season. And what I do is I fill up a bucket like this, and I just have it available to me whenever I have a spare couple minutes to work on planting some of my seedlings. So to get started, all you need to do is fill up one of your containers, or fill up some of your containers with some of the potting mix. Pat it down, and then just wet it down so that it compresses a little bit. And then you can leave that overnight and let it really settle, or you can get started right away and plant in them. Now I've prepared some of the some containers already so that I can just go ahead and get some plants started. What I like to plant at this time of the year are the cold weather hardy plants like lettuce and kale. So those are the seeds that I've taken out to show you today. My favorite kale to plant is curly kale. I love curly kale because the small leaves are very tender. You can put them in with little preparation. You can put them in salads. You can saute them just as a vegetable with just a little bit of garlic and olive oil, or you can chop it up and throw it into some soups, stews, or casseroles. So I always like to have kale growing in my garden, so I'm going to get that started. So when you open up your package, there in kale and lettuce, you'll probably have 50 to 100 seeds in your package. So just take out what you think you're going to plant, because once you put it in the palm of your hand, if there's any moisture on your hand and you put it back into your package, you can contaminate it, and it is possible that the seed won't germinate if you put the seeds that you've poured out back into the package. So only take out what you think you're going to plant. So what I do is I just take a knife, a little utensil, and just make a couple holes in the container that you're going to pot in. And I'll put, like, in a container this size, about four plants. Don't worry too much if you pick up 2 seeds rather than 1. Just go ahead and put that into those holes. The hole should be about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch deep. I've never really had any problems germinating seeds that are viable, and so if it's a little bit deeper, a little bit shallow, it's not probably going to make a difference. So just put your seeds in, and then just loosely put the soil over top, and don't pat it down too firmly. You still want it to stay somewhat loose. Now these have already been watered, so it's wet, and you don't have to worry about watering it again until that soil feels dry. So I'm just going to continue on here, since I have some more seeds here, kale seeds, and I'm just going to put some more in this pot right here, so that I'm ready to go. Now, like I said, if you end up putting a couple of seeds in each hole, once those seedlings come out, then you could just take a small pair of scissors and just snip away any that are growing too close together. So the next plant that I'm going to plant is romaine lettuce. It's a wonderful lettuce to have, and it's fairly easy to grow. I've never had any problems growing it here in southern Ontario. So again, I'll only take out what I feel I'm going to plant today, and then put the rest of the seeds aside, and make some holes again with my knife, just about a half-inch deep. Make 4 holes there, and then just drop those seeds right down, and then just make sure that they're covered up afterwards. So now I've already started this a couple weeks ago, and I have some seedlings already up, and right now I've moved them over to my cold frame, which is right behind me. I'll show you those in a minute. Once the weather gets to be around 0 degrees, -2 at the coldest, then you can actually take your seedlings and plant them in a garden container, like a cold frame that has a lid to keep it covered. Usually I get my plants in the garden at usually the last week of March, first week of April, and I'm picking lettuce by the 3rd week of April. Now, what I like to do is plant consecutively every 3 weeks, get a couple plants, lettuce and kale plants started. Even though you can have one kale plant growing all throughout your season in the garden, and just take a couple leaves each time, it is nice to get those tender leaves. So I prefer to plant about every 3 weeks in my garden, and then I have a lettuce and kale all the way, sometimes to the beginning of December here in southern Ontario. So I think that's all I have to tell you about planting and getting started with the seedlings. Let's now go on over to my cold frame.